What is going on, guys? I'm coming at you with another Magical Musketeer deck profile. Now I apologize for the lack of content upload. I have really just been working on the decks that I've been playing. I haven't really had the time to make discussion videos and things like that, but as time carries on, as school progresses, and as I pass my midterms, I'm gonna, be able to have more time to dedicate it to this channel. For the most part, I really wanted to just showcase today my Magical Musketeer deck profile. What makes this deck profile so different from the previous ones is this one isn't really focused on just. I wanted to give the deck a boss monster that's relatively easy to summon, and basically is really impactful in today's metagame. For example, if you guys have been seeing, True Draco have been continuously going on a rampage. They just recently won YCS Salt Lake City. So I've been playing with this deck for quite a while now, and I've took it to my locals. I went 3-2, which wasn't too bad. I've been just playtesting it with friends. So now I get the idea of how the deck works with the new ratios that it has. But for the most part, let's really, I'm gonna explain each card choice, and I'm gonna tell you guys why I play the cards I do, and what cards are more important than the others. So I'm just gonna really explain what the cards do in a quick sense, and I'm just gonna explain why each ratio and things like that. But for the most part, let's get into it. You play triple Magical Musketeer Kaspar because he's basically the Stratos of the deck. He can search monsters and spells as long as they have the Magical Musket. And if this is the first time learning about Magical Musketeers, I'm basically going to explain this. All of them have this effect, where it's like, if they're on the field and a card is activated in its column, meaning like a spell is activated in this one or in your opponent's side, it basically triggers their effects. And Kaspar's is that he can search any Magical Musketeer, any Magical Musket card from your deck and add it to your hand. So that's basically it. He's important because he's basically the card you kind of want to start off with. Or if you don't really open with Kaspar, you kind of want to open with Magical Musketeer Starfire, because if you open her in a Magical Musket, she special summons any Magical Musket in defense. But for the most part, most of the time, you're gonna go into Kaspar. So basically 3 of her. One thing I really don't like about the deck is that they're really weak. That's one thing I kind of don't like. I really wish they would have gave them all at least 1500 attack to give them that ability to beat over monsters. But I'll explain why I think Konami didn't do that when I explain more of the cards. But yeah, triple Starfire is important because she just searches Kaspar. Double Kid Brave. Now the reason I cut Kid Brave from 3 to 2 is because we cut the Magical Musketeer monster count. And really, he's basically like a hand destruction. You discard a Magical Musket card, draw 2. You basically just want to search your cards out with Kaspar, so that's why Starfire is at 3. She basically gives you Kaspar if you don't open Kaspar. And Kid Brave, that again, if a card is activated in his column, you could discard a Magical Musket card, draw 2. He's personally my favorite just because of that 1600 attack. He can beat over monsters, and his spell, his bullet, is actually the best one in the deck in my opinion. But yeah, we play 2 Magical Musketeer Kid Brave. We play 2 Magical Musketeer Dog, and he's basically like a monster reborn for the spells and traps. He basically just adds them back to your hand. So when a card is activated again in his column, you get to add any Magical Musket card from your graveyard to your hand. So that's pretty cool. 1400 attack isn't too bad. And if you guys have noticed, Kid Brave, Doc, and Kaspar all rank level 3, so you can go into some rank 3s plays. I really would have liked to see another Magical Musket, maybe Kid Brave be a level 4, just so you could so there could be more rank 4 plays. But the rank 3 engine isn't, the rank 3 pool isn't too bad. They're basically 1 or 2, and you just usually go into beaters because they're basically a control archetype. But that pretty much wraps all the Magical Musketeer counts, so you play a total of 10 Musketeers. Next, you play the Windwitch engine because it doesn't really limit Magical Musketeers because they don't use their normal summon. So let's get into it. So you play 3 Windwitch Ice Bell, and if you control no monsters, you can special summon her. It burns your opponent for 500, then it special summons a Windwitch monster from the deck. Most of the time, you're gonna want to go into her Windwitch Glass Bell. What she does is when she's normal or special summon, she lets you add any Windwitch card from your deck to your hand. So you kind of want to go into this one out, which is Windwitch Snowbell, and this is when 2 monsters are special. When there's 2 wind monsters on the field and this card's in your hand, you can special summon it. So you guys get it. The way it works is like this: special summon her, she special summons her, she adds this one, and this one special summons. You go into a synchro for the Windwitch synchro, and then you basically go into burn your opponent with the Windwitch synchro, and synchro with Snowbell to get an indestructible Crystal Wing. That Crystal Wing that can be destroyed by card effects because Windwitch Snowbell protects it. So that's basically the Windwitch engine. And while I was testing, most of the time I really did find it really good when I'd open with her and then 1 Musketeer and then a spell or 2 opening her and Kaspar and like 2 magical musket cards is absolutely crazy because you have 1 negation with Crystal Wing, you have and whatever, and like some disruption with the magical musket cards you open. But for the most part, the Windwitch engine is a really good engine because it's only 6 cards. It doesn't take away your normal summon. Like Ice Bell doesn't take away your normal summon, and I feel like they don't hold Musketeers back, and they give Musketeers like a win condition with Crystal Wing. They give them that like extra power they need. So I really like the Windwitch engine, and that's why I play 3 Ice Bell, 2 Glass Bell, and 1 Snow Bell, wrapping it up for the Windwitch engine. Now the reason I play Godarla over Gamma Seal is because most of the time with the magical muskets you're going to be either like destroying it with one of the spells or traps, or like the only reason that is because Ice Bell doesn't let you special summon, like the Windwitch engine doesn't let you special summon any monsters other than wind monsters for like the rest of the turn. So basically I just felt like maybe if I use Kid, like it's very situational, but most of the time the way you'll out a kaiju is going to be Crystal Wing or your magical muskets being able to beat over it, so you really shouldn't have a problem with that. That's why I played 2 Godarla over 2 Gamma Seal. Next I played 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit because hand traps are important, and 2 Ash Blossom. They become like extra musket cards. Like for example, Ghost Ogre's Desperado and Ash Blossom can be like last stand or pretty much anything. Next we played 2 Instant Fusion for the 1000 Eyes Restrict and Millennium Eyes Restrict cards like that. Go into some rank 4 plays, rank 3 plays. Pot of Desire because you basically play 3 of everything, and I most of the time found that I wasn't really banishing the Windwitch engine when I was using Pot of Desires. So yeah, but it can be kind of dangerous using it first. You kind of want to bait your opponent out first before you use Pot of Desires. Try to get your Crystal Wing or try to get like your cards, like the cards you'll need. We also play 1 Upstart Goblin to trigger your Magical Musketeer's effects. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck to use. I mean, life points really don't matter like in a duel, you know. The only life point that matters is kind of the last one, so giving your opponent 1000 life points to draw a card and trigger your Musketeer's effect is personally my favorite to do it in Kaspar's, because you basically get a draw, check your Magical Musketeer cards in your hand, get any one you need. So basically that. So we play 1 Upstart, and then we play 1 Regeki because board wipes are important, 1 Monster Reborn because Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is a beast to special summon, or basically any of your Magical Musketeers. You can special summon one from the graveyard, trigger one's effect, and basically just continue your plays from there. Next, for the magical musket spells and traps, we play double steady hands because you could activate it during the damage step, and if your opponent has nothing, they can't really negate it, only like unless they have like damage like changing cards. So I'd recommend always activating your attack changing cards in the damage step because your opponent can't negate them at that point. Triple Magical Musket Cross Domination is basically an effect veiler, and it reduces the opponent's monster's attack and defense to 0. Plus, it can trigger your Magical Musketeer's effect. This is honestly my favorite card in the deck because you could attack into ABC Buster Dragon and declare, and if your opponent, you ask them if they have anything during the attack declaration, like if they don't banish it, you could just chain Magical Musket Cross Domination, and at that point their ABC Buster Dragon or any card that you basically want to get over is like basically screwed because they can't chain unless they have a card that could like alter the attack and defense, and they can't activate the Buster Dragon's effect to banish your Magical Musketeer at that point because again they can't activate cards during you can't activate cards during the damage calculation unless it's like a damage calculation changing card like Honest or maybe another cross domination, things like that. For the most part, 5 is actually perfect. You want to use your steady hands more offensively, and you want to use your Magical Musket Cross Dominations defensively. That's just one recommendation I have. Like don't use it like on the special summon. Wait until they attack into you because maybe that could be a bait. You know, if they Alistair, maybe they have Invocation in hand, or if they Candida, they maybe just wanted to get over that. They can just like when playing Trickstars, I'd honestly recommend don't use this on Candida search effect because they'll just chain it and switch and like sub in Lycoris, and then basically she still gets her effect. So I'd honestly recommend using these more defensively than offensively. That's why I decided to play Ash Blossom instead of Effect Veiler now. So yeah, that's basically just wraps up for the 5 Magical Musketeer spells. Next we play 3 Last Stand is basically a spell and trap negator, and 3 Desperados, which is basically Ghost Ogre, or basically gets rid of any cards you want. But one of the things I really liked about this deck is that Masterpiece really doesn't give you too many problems because you have Crystal Wing to out it, plus whatever they make Masterpiece immune to, you have something in your deck that can get over it. You can Magical Musket Cross Domination basically beat over Masterpiece, You can desperado Masterpiece because most of the time they don't really tribute the trap. And Crystal Wing just gives them a hard time unless they like Apocalypse, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Like, if they use Apocalypse, basically get rid of it with Desperado or Ghost Ogre, things like that. But for the most part, we played 3 Magical Musket last time because it's a spell and a Trap Negator, and 3 Magical Musket Desperado. Now let's talk a little bit about the extra deck and why I play certain cards. Next, this is like basically your Crystal Wing engine. You go into the level 4 and the level 3 to make this guy burn your opponent for 800. Then you use the level 1 tuner to make Crystal Wing, and basically you're kind of in the driver's seat at that point because I realize that if your opponent's going to kaiju something, at least they won't kaiju your magical musket, so your spells and traps in your hand don't become useless. They'll kaiju the Crystal Wing basically, and you'll still have some defense on your hand. That's kind of the reason that I switched from like normal magical muskets to magical muskets with Crystal Wing, because it's just in my opinion a lot better. Next, for some synchro plays, we play Sea Monster of Theseus because of the instant fusion, and we play some level 8s. These are personally my favorites. Cypher and Lord Omega, because again he's pretty busted, taking your opponent's card and then coming back in during your standby phase and could attack and things like that. And a Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend because they're level 3, so you instant fusion with Theseus. One of my favorite plays to do is kind of normal summon the Starfire, instant fusion, bring out Theseus, trigger Starfire's effect, special summon Caspar, synchro Caspar and the Theseus for a Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. It'll blow up your opponent's cards. It'll blow up your opponent's special summon monsters, but Starfire won't be destroyed. Plus, it'll burn your opponent. Just basically things like that. It's just some pretty interesting plays you can do depending on the situation, and I like having it in the deck. So these are 5 of the first ones. Next, Acid Golem, because he's an absolute beast. It's basically a rank 3, 3000 attack. It'll get over anything you kind of want to get over. Utopia the Lightning, because we do play Carbonala Warrior, so you could normal summon Starfire, instant fusion, get your Carbonala Warrior, special summon your Caspar, go into Utopia the Lightning or things like that. But the Utopia package is one of my favorite packages to play because Utopia the Lightning is incredibly strong, gets rid of almost anything, and your opponent can activate cards during when it declares an attack, so that's pretty cool. Next, Millenniumized Illusionist, Thousand Edge Restrict, and Link Karibo for the instant fusions. So in case there's like any boss monster, you can instant fusion, take it with Thousand Edge Restrict, then link 1 for Link Karibo. And one of the things that I was kind of hoping is like Millenniumized Restrict is good, but only if your opponent is playing hand traps. And not only that, it's like he can take an opponent's monster when it activates an effect, so you could use it on like an Alistair or something like that, and then they can activate as long as it's equipped to that. But you're going to be going to Link Karibo, so that it'll fizzle out. The only reason I play Millenniumized Restrict is to like catch Ash Blossoms, because it basically serves like a fly trap. For example, if you normal summon, activate instant fusion, trigger Musketeer's effect, special summon this, then you're like, for example, if it's Starfire to special summon or Caspar to add, like this can basically just catch like the Ash Blossom and it'll negate it, it'll equip to it, and your opponent can activate Ash Blossoms as long as it's equipped to Millenniumized Restrict. But then you're just going to link 1 for Link Karibo. So that's basically it. This little package right here is cool. I don't really find myself going into Millenniumized Restrict, but I do recommend having it because when it has happened, it's been really good. And it's just basically you'll use it if you know your opponent is playing hand traps, so that's why I recommend having it. He is a little bit pricey right now, but I'd recommend to wait a little bit and then just pick him up when he's like $5. Next, we play Panzer Dragon because again, instant fusion. If you have like no out to a card, you instant fusion into this thing, and then just wait till the end turn. Instant fusion destroys it. It gets its effect to pop a card on the field. And finally, 1 Raijin, because again you could instant fusion with it, and then Book of Moon himself, and then he won't destroy himself, giving you a 2400 defense monster. So Magical Musketeers have always been one of my favorite decks to play. I just really enjoyed the deck's playstyle. I'm always like trying to make the deck a little better. I'm hoping in the future, they get some support. In my opinion, the best support that this deck could honestly get is a field spell. So you could use terraforming with it to trigger like Musketeer's effects, and a real boss monster, because Zakiel is a shitty boss monster, to be honest. Hopefully they get something in the future. But for the most part, I'm just going to keep playing Magical Muskets this way. I do like the way it plays. I can like match up with like meta decks at this point. So I'm going to continue playing the deck like this because I feel like it does match up well with other decks. And the ABCs, True Dracos, Pendulum Magicians are honestly my biggest matchup. But going first, you always want to go first with this deck. Crystalling will just give them a hard time, and your magical musket cards in your hand, you can kind of shut them down if you play your cards right. But for the most part, that's pretty much it for the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think. I apologize for the lack of uploads. I'm gonna continue this week. I'm actually on spring break, so I'm gonna bring you guys a video every single day, and I got another deck profile coming up soon. So if you guys enjoy, I think about joining the Tier 0 family, subscribe. I'd love to have you. Let me know what you think of the comment. Let me know what you think of the deck profile in the comment section below. But for now, my name is Sesma, guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all, and I'm out. Lates.